Hello, writers, and welcome back to Spooky Writes, your channel all about writing. I am your host, who is secretly a ghost. I'm your host, who is secretly a ghost, Kamal Onor. Today I'm following through with my promise to read some of my early writing. So today I'm going to be reading you a short story that I wrote in one of my very first creative writing classes that I ever took in college. This is writing that I'm going to read, and we're going to go paragraph by paragraph because it's not good. I guarantee you this is very poor writing, and I'm okay admitting this because of the fact that this was written so long ago. This piece I probably wrote about 10 years ago. So the main reason why I'm reading this piece is it's to highlight how far I have come as an author and to help you realize how far you are able to grow regardless of where you are starting with your current writing skills, with your current writing talents. So let's get into it. So I'm going to go paragraph by paragraph, and I'll talk about what I'm doing well in this paragraph and what I'm doing poorly in each paragraph. And again, this is a very short writing piece. It's not something that's going to be very long. It's maybe 2 pages. I haven't looked at this since I wrote it and submitted it for this program for this intro to creative writing class that I took when I had first changed my major from music to that of creative writing. So this was one of my very first pieces I ever submitted, and the title of this piece is called The Voices. So let's begin. The Voices. A man in olive drab drives down a man in olive drab drives down a road, comma, his forefinger tapping out the rhythm of the song on the radio, comma. Whistling to himself, he smiles in the mirror, admiring his set of fine teeth that he got from his mother. So that's our opening sentence. Awful, right? There's nothing going on. We don't really have any idea of anything that's going on. We don't have a character. We don't have anything that's been established. We don't have anything to grab the reader's attention. There's no hook to this story. And again, this is one of my first writing pieces, and it's just very poorly written, and you'll see how bad it gets. So let's continue on. So that was our first paragraph. So that was our opening sentence. And by the way, I will mention that in this story I use the tab key. Now, you do not want to use your tab key when writing. Best thing you can do is just to have it set to auto indent the first line of your paragraphs. This is going to save you so much headache having to go back and delete all your tabs, because editors and publishers do not want to have to go in and delete the tabs themselves. So, where were we? Smiles in his mirror, admiring his set of fine teeth that he got from his mother. His broad arm hangs out the window. Only the rush of air could hope to cool the temperature. M dash. Now I don't know why in a lot of my early writing I used a lot of M dashes, mainly because I didn't understand grammar. I didn't understand what made up a sentence. I didn't understand how to use commas properly, as you will see. So enough of that. Let's get back into it. So M dash. The blazing temperature of the West Coast, with its endless days of summer that go on like an ending dream. So let's talk about this first paragraph. So first paragraph, we're introduced to a main character. This person's probably going to be our protagonist. Is there any real hook, or are we just kind of given a scene of... we're more so given a scene of just some random guy in military gear driving down the road, and there's really nothing for the reader to... There's no concern, there's no hook. So tell me, what in this opening paragraph would make any reader want to keep reading? Is it the fact that he has a nice set of teeth? I don't know. So, but again, this is early writing, early writing. All right, paragraph number 2. The hum of his mind feels at sync with the hum of his glorious, gas-guzzling tank of a truck. Yes, I wrote gosling, not gas-guzzling. So gas-guzzling tank of a truck. He pulls to the off-ramp and passes the unwalked streets. I don't know why I hyphenated unwalked. Maybe it's not meant to be an M dash. It's definitely just me being probably just assuming that Word knows what it's doing, which most of the time I know it's wrong and I know that I know what I'm doing at this point in time. But at that point in time, it's probably just yes, accept. So we have this beautiful un-walked, as though unwalked is 2 words. I don't know why anyone would ever, but again, cringe. The unwalked streets, another M dash. Odd how, and then you're not supposed to capitalize following an M dash, but I do because I didn't know any better. So odd how weather keeps people inside, glued to fans and air-conditioned rooms. Temperatures this hot turn the city to nothing more than a long centipede with hundreds of cars lined up, filling the road with masses of metal. Yet the man, with his flawless smile, braves the hot temperatures with finger-tapping and carefree demeanor. So, was there anything of important or anything in this? Was there anything significant in this second paragraph? I would probably say this entire second paragraph is just filler. It's just needless description. There's no main focus of this story yet. Yes, I'm giving more description about this man driving down the street. He doesn't have a name, and I'm not even sure if I ever even name him in this story because it is so short. All right. Reaching his destination, he brakes before the large sign that reads City General Hospital. Parking his truck in 2 spaces, he braves the sun. Again, here's my combining 2 words with a hyphen for some reason. Parking his truck in 2 spaces, he braves the sun-heated asphalt. And stepping through the automatic doors of the hospital, feels the cool, sterilized air inside greet him. The hair on his arm sticks out as though each wanting to be the first to absorb the crisp cooling like children. What am I trying to say here? All right, try and reread this. Let's try and make this make sense. This is the face of someone with confusion. Make it make sense. The hospital feels cool. Stepping through the automatic doors of the hospital feels the cool. And stepping through the automatic doors of the hospital feels the cool, sterilized air inside greet him. The hair on his arms stick out as though each wanting to be the first to absorb the crisp cooling. Oh, okay. So, each wanting to be the first to absorb the crisp cooling, semicolon, which I have no idea how to use properly back in this time. Like children racing for a body of water to dive headlong into the refreshing pool. Again, nothing of importance in this paragraph, so let's just keep going to the next one. After asking a nurse, he is kindly escorted to a waiting room. The rhythm of his fingers now changes to his feet tapping against the floor. With his back slouched and his head down the stairs, and his head With his back slouched and his head down, he stares at a lone children's toy left untouched outside of its designated box. For a time he stares at the plastic face of the toy, its blonde-colored hair, with its permanent smile and forced pose. Again, nothing of importance. This whole story is nothing of any significance or importance. Reaching out, the man takes the toy and turns it in his hand, noticing the words "Made in China" on its foot. A little bit of intrigue, maybe. A little odd to be playing with dolls, aren't you? The man looks up, dropping the doll to the floor. Seeing the man who addressed him, he looks for a moment unable to reply, his tongue plastered to the bottom of his mouth. The em dashes and the grammar and the lack of stopping and the lack of punctuation really have me thrown here. So if I seem to be struggling with reading, it's because the grammar is so poor. Thank you. Thank you for understanding. In a seat nearby sits a man. His hair long and lank and greasy hanging below his chin, parted as a curtain, and greasy hanging down below his chin, em dash, parted as a curtain to let his wild eyes pass through. "Excuse me?" said the other man. "Excuse me?" said the other in olive drab. We're almost there. So this whole story, nothing of any importance has happened because this entire story revolves around a single plot twist, as you will see. So, last major paragraph, let's go. Let's do it, finish it up. Aren't you a bit old to be playing with dolls? Besides, you're, oof, ouch, it hurts, it burns. Incorrect use of your. I submitted this for a college class. How I passed, I do not know. Aren't you a bit old to be playing with dolls? Besides, you're doing it all wrong. Here, let me, said the unwashed man, reaching out a dirt-blotched hand to take the doll from the other. In a moment, the odious-smelling man goes into the toy chest, and with a doll in each hand, begins to show the other how to play with dolls. The two play with the dolls. And this is all. There's no commas, no real punctuation here. The two play with the dolls. The dirty one teaching the clean how it's done. Period. And then no capitalization. When finally an attendant comes for the clean man, standing he turns to look upon the dirty man, em dash, then enters a doctor's office. From over the top of his glasses, the doctor asks, "Tell me about the voices." So this story is a perfect example of me having some imagination, of me writing something that at the time I thought was a legible story, something that I thought was at least having a beginning, middle, end, but none of it is important. There's so much filler in it, and it all hinges around the twist at the end that the other person wasn't real, and that was all in this one man's mind. But there's really no sense of any characterization in the story because we're never given names of characters. It's the clean man and the unwashed man, and we're never given much information. There's certainly no character development within this 2-page story, if you can even call it a story. So hopefully that's something that you can see how bad my writing was when I first started, and it's something that you can use to help you feel motivated to write a better story than this. Please write a better story than this. But again, this should highlight the fact that no matter where you're starting from, you are always able to improve. And if I knew what I knew now, and I was writing this, and I was still writing these types of stories, I would be so disheartened. But the fact is, I've improved so much since the days of writing stories like this, and I have a few more stories. This was one of the shortest ones that I could find, but if you guys want to hear me read and cringe and give some more feedback on my terrible writing, and so with that, keep it spooky. And of course, here's your writing prompt for sticking all the way through the video. The man heard the voices and decided blank. So set your timer and start writing. Thank you so much.